Simon is in Brixton. Simon, what would you like to say?
Oh, no, yeah, I voted to stay in on environmental grounds. I thought a lot of EU laws are to do with the environment and they encourage us to be green. But then looking into it further, I'm actually a bit more pro-Brexit now. So if you look at EU law on biofuels, mandating that we have to have palm oil in our diesel, that has led to deforestation in a big way in Indonesia. And I read in an exciting journal, Packaging News, France tried to ban disposable plastic forks and knives in restaurants, and EU law overruled them because they were lobbied by the packaging lobby. And I think the sovereignty issue, based on things like that, is really important. And the second thing...
Hang on, just to clarify, the deforestation in Indonesia and not liking plastic cutlery.
Yeah, they're
perfectly good reasons.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on gelatine capsules?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's done a bit mean, doesn't it? If we're not allowed to subsidise gelatine capsules in the UK, and then Spain does, and then puts the British company out of business, that does seem a bit wrong. But Spain shouldn't have been allowed to get away with that, should they? If we're not allowed to subsidise industry in the UK, then Spain shouldn't either. But I guess they don't follow.
What do you think the common agricultural policy is?
Well, I mean, that's a different issue. I mean,
no, it's not. It's subsidies for the farming industry.
Yeah, but that's universal. Every EU country is allowed to subsidise their farmers to a set level. We're not allowed to kind of subsidise one industry, say, bottle manufacturing.
Yes, we are. All over. The car plants have EU subsidies. All over Cornwall, there's industries that enjoy EU subsidies. North Wales, in particular, is one of the richest recipients of one of the most biggest beneficiaries of EU subsidies. It's all. But anyway, back to cutlery and deforestation.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were like, even sort of charities like Friends of the Earth are leaning towards, let's stay in the EU because of environmental law. But
what do they know?
Well, they are experts, but if you...
we've had enough of experts.
I mean, coming to my point, it was EU law that said, we must have 10% in diesel, 10% of it must be biofuel, and that has led to people burning down rainforests to grow biofuel to meet the EU demands, which is set by EU law. I mean, it's been overlooked. I mean, the second thing about sovereignty, a lot of people go on about the Human Rights Act. I remember Amnesty International, but I actually disagree with some elements of the Human Rights Act. The right to family life is used by criminal lawyers to stop people being deported. I've heard that from the people in the office next door. They were criminal lawyers, and they said, if someone's being deported, we tell them to get their partner pregnant, and then they can't be deported. And I've heard that from a county court judge as well.
Yes,
and I think people are rightly annoyed with this.
Well, and you can understand why. I mean, it would annoy me, but it's the problem with laws is that they're not perfect. So the reason why the right to a family life is part of the human rights legislation is so that if somebody commits a crime, you don't punish their children for it.
Yeah, but surely then
that creates a loophole, I suppose, if you can get yourself pregnant or you can impregnate somebody in the nick of time. It creates a loophole that would allow you to stay. But the loophole is the price you pay for innocent children not being punished for the crimes of their parents. And you're perfectly entitled to say, I don't care if the children get punished for the crimes of their parents. But if you, for example, if you deport the breadwinner from a family and the wife and 7 children are British, the burden falls upon the taxpayer.
Well, I would say we should close that loophole by having a British Bill of Rights, which gives us all of the rights in the Human Rights Act, except for that right, and that would close the loophole. Why not? Every country has its own.
What if you didn't get? How would you tell whether someone got pregnant by accident or on purpose?
That's an issue for the courts, isn't it?
No, mate, it's an issue for you because you're the one that's writing the new law.
Cheeky.
Go on then.
Okay, well, if I was a lawmaker, I would say, well, if you have no children at the time of committing the crime, then future children shouldn't be taken into account when considering your deportation.
So the woman who's pregnant, who's never committed a crime in her life, is left not only holding the baby, but without any support whatsoever from the man who's impregnated her.
Well, we have benefits in this country, don't we?
That's fine, as long as you're clear that the taxpayer would be paying for that, as opposed to the father.
I think the taxpayer paying for that would be
and of course she's being punished,
being able to be deported. I think that fewer people would do it.
How many people do you think
recommended to do that? Would they? The criminal lawyers wouldn't be saying get someone pregnant to stop being deported. That loophole wouldn't work.
Well, you need to tell me how many cases there are of that happening where somebody's got pregnant between being arrested and being released.
I don't have the figures, sir.
Because what if it's 3? You still want to leave the European Union to punish those 3 people, or those 3 innocent women and those 21 innocent children?
Well, we do have 300 support. We do have welfare support for fathers.
So I'll do this to you. I'll do this to you. I'm just pointing out that most people who are very sort of pro deportation are also pretty much anti benefits, but you're clearly not, and I like that. Yeah, not you. But here's the question: second referendum?
Yeah, I think maybe. I think maybe. I think people. I remember this time last year.
No, not that. So but what would you do, man, in a second referendum?
Well, I think there's going to be 2 different options of Brexit. I think there'll be kind of leave everything or kind of have a bit of migration and send single market. I think there'll be 2 options like that on the table from the EU.
But the second option is what we've currently got. It would just involve invoking powers that we currently enjoy, but no one really told us about before the vote. So if it was another vote now, what would you do?
I don't know. I'd probably. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want.
You've got to vote. It's now. Seriously, the clock is ticking. I'm going to chuck you out of the voting hall in a minute. I'm going to chuck you out of the church hall.
I think I'd vote Brexit and hope there's another referendum on new terms to re-enter on better terms without these ridiculous rights to family life, which encourage women getting pregnant for no reason.
That is it for you. That's a man that you just can't get over that hump.
And the Parliament. Why should France not be allowed to ban cutlery, plastic cutlery?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I mean, it's a slightly esoteric area of enthusiasm, Simon.